nearly as often or enough lift the names of women like Lakia Boyd, women like Maya Hall, women like Ara Rosser, and that is what we're here today to do, is to lift their names, let them know that if Black lives matter, then Black women's lives matter too. And not just cisgender Black women, but transgender Black women as well. We're not splitting the narrative when we talk about Black women. All their lives matter. And state violence is not just limited to police violence. It's any system of violence that is inflicted to further a political game or goal. We're trying to put a stop to that today. And for those individuals who did not stand in the gap and stand for those lives that have been taken by state violence, we're standing with them today. So as we continue with our program, I ask that you keep your hearts and minds fixated on those young women, of those lives that have been taken. And hopefully this will be one of the last gatherings we have to do of this magnitude, and we will continue to fight until that day comes.
Thank you. Now we'll have, I don't get it. Hello. Okay. I apologize. Now we're going to have a spoken word piece by Mariah. By January.
January's here. I don't think Mariah's here yet.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. So before I do this poem, I feel the need to keep it like 100 and say that this poem was written from the standpoint of mothers who lose their children. And there are a lot of references to male lives in this poem. There are a few references to female lives, and so I guess in a sense I want to take responsibility for my part and not acknowledging the Black women's lives who have been lost more often than I do. I'm not perfect, but this is very inspirational. So I feel like a poem is like building, and I hope it really is. But yeah, so this poem is fitting, but I can't help but feel some kind of way because I'm up here and I have this opportunity, and I really wish that I was up here about to speak solely about Black women, and I'm not. I'm about to speak about Black lives and about Black mothers, and I know it all transcends together, but yeah, so I just want to take responsibility for that. And this poem is called Kick of the Lambs. My guess is that our lambs don't kick any differently in the womb. It don't require special tools to be delivered, a special milk when they are feeding. My guess is that mothers of lambs hardly ever know what it is they are growing in their bellies. Tiny hands peeking through stomach skin can look just like next of kin, even from within. So how is a parent to know when they are holding the special delivery? Will the sperm have distinct characteristics? Will the lipstick she wore, the left tattooed kisses across Papa's collar make any difference? What makes a lamb sacrificial, or better yet, what makes a fetus turn sacrificial lamb? How come there are no early warnings found with all this new technology? Why can't we tell from the ultrasound when the gender is revealed? Like, good day, ma'am, you're having a boy. And from what we can tell through this gel and 3D screen is that he'll probably only survive 21 days after turning 17. It looks like he will be a lamb, a sacrifice, a civil rights violation that might grip the nation in news stories that will hold pictures of his dead body hostage towards the camera as if to say, look at what we can do. So we advise you a bit of bed rest and stamina building because you're gonna need it, and it's Papa too, for if he sticks around, it is likely to tear his soul apart, that his child could be tilled like an immense sense of danger. So teach the next image not to whistle at strangers, and you might be able to add an extra breath or two to his life. That is, unless after losing a gunfight to his young and tender fists he is laid on top of, white hands gripping his tiny wrists. Sacrificials usually don't make it past this. How do we prepare ourselves for what could become our inevitable, because Lord knows our babies don't seem to kick any differently in the womb. The music we put on growing bellies does not erase the subsequent tunes of the taps that will drown out our hearts and crucified memories. They put us on trial and set the real killers free. I want every pregnant Black woman to write on her stomach in permanent ink, emancipate me. We are birthing cage queens that don't know they might not be here long. Our Star Spangled Banner song looks a lot like processionals and RIP shirts. Because I tell you, these dimly lit OBGYN rooms did not give us enough fair warning that too soon after the birthing experience, we might be shopping for tombstones. We will leap from school pictures to grave markers. Evidence 235, concrete names with names etched in it that feels like bricks sitting on top of fatherly shoulders. How does one mend the shattered wall of a proud raising a proud black man? How do we raise proud black women when they kill them as girls, when we kill them as boys? How do we teach our kids that their lives are not valued in this United States of America? I the racist, I the stereotyper, I he who follows, who stalks because hoodies mean threats and it looks like he's up to something. That music is just too damn loud. Empty the clip in the crowd of black kids. Arrogance and egos make some of us too proud, and so down goes another lamb. The justice system loves the murder of our sons, but it's more fun when it's done by the hands of one of their eyes, their guys. The number of Sean Bells is steadily on the rise, but our ties to black on black crime divides how and when we fight. So we tear up the club and claim to be in the right, but none of this helps the parents who see their child's name in news lights sleep well at night. These be the hood drones injected as serum in our prenatal pills, sacrificial lamb kills. This society teaches our men that they are kings only in the Rodney sense. Billy Club bitches, pull that nigger's britches down past his mandingo. Trade in the switches for the sodomizing broomstick theory. 50 years of all white juries, no peers. How can they convict when they can't even begin to relate to the black mother's tears? The mothers who intercourse once and was taught what it meant to have love be in the air. Congratulations, ma'am. She is a princess with a full head of hair. We teach them to embrace the life of a queen while consciously forgetting they could be eradicated by the time they turn 17. So if ever we see them in the driveway with their back blown out next to a shell casing of hatred, or lying hands up, stomach down at the BART station, or if a pickup truck drags them until the James within becomes the kill birds feed up on, let their death not be in vain, at least for the mothers who are at home scrubbing old dinner off new plates, lying in wait, ironing school uniforms, waiting for her daughter who this time might not be returning home. It's for the fathers whose stoic demeanor gets lessened with each glimpse of his daughter's feet crossing east and west for the last time. He will never hear, "That's my old man," one last time. She will never hear, "Ma, stop kissing me," one last time. It's for the pallbearers who carry the fallen to the final. They will never laugh amongst that friend one last time. It's for our lambs, all of our sacrificial lambs, all of our little girls dying under A&E hotspots. It's for our little boys that quickly learn that curveball can be a dangerous game to play. It's for the next 48 and the first 24. It is for our wombs that cultivate unarmed kings and queens with no foreshadowing, telling us that we will live longer without them than we did with them. So for now, this will have to do, and the fight will have to continue, and the lambs will have to be remembered, and the mothers that walk past us holding the future inside, know that if you are bringing forth into this world new life, our kicks are always different, and they are always up for the American sacrifice. Thank you.
What did I do? And when I sent a message to Thomas, I'm not worried. I got a clean record, but I'm worried anyway. So, God is interesting. You got one? Okay. About a woman. She got quiet. I said, "You do know this happens to women too." And she dismissed me and said, "But this is really about our brothers. This is happening to black men. This is what." So I let her go, because I'm doing this in love. We try to do a class. But it made me concerned that we are dismissive of each other. So it wasn't about the dismissing of us by another group, but it was by a black woman, a black senior, that I'm supposed to look up to, respect, and get some wisdom from, and she was dismissive to our pain and what is happening to us. We have to have a better understanding of the intersection of gender and race throughout the lives of black women. I am never not black and never not female. That's just how I am all the time, and I can't separate that. So things happen to me in that space all the time. We have to have a respect for what is happening. The fact that, let me back up, the fact that there are two women who created this movement, and now they have to step up and say, "Wait a minute, y'all, it's about us too." That's ironic that they have to step up and say, "Wait a minute, I didn't want us to have to do Black women's lives matters or black trans women's lives matter, or black poor people's lives matter. It was about black people.
Get out of here, okay?
Y'all hear what I'm saying? We have to start recognizing and honoring the women in our lives. That goes for women honoring each other and our brothers stepping up when we need them to step up. So I don't want conversations of race and racism and police brutality and violence to be just one-dimensional. It's about all of us. And we have to be inclusive in this story and in our spaces and have an understanding that we all have experiences of police brutality and violence. And even more so being solution-based and not just doing visuals or marches. We have to get involved in our communities beyond just getting on Twitter and being an activist on Twitter. And I'm all for Twitter activism because that's called awareness. You got to take it to the streets. You got to go to the city county council meetings, and you got to go to Liberty Hall, and you got to go to VOA, and you got to go to all these spaces where women are locked up in a system and have no idea how to navigate that system. We have to advocate for our schools. We have to get involved. Don't talk about IPS if you ain't walked up into an IPS school, right? Don't talk about getting treated in the healthcare system if you don't get involved, if you don't advocate, you don't step up, if you don't say, I don't like the way you treat me, or I don't like how you treat my brother or sister standing next to me. You got to start advocating. Stop looking for the savior leader to show up. The leadership is here. The leadership is us. Nobody, one person's going to come up. MLK, God bless him, be quoting them on Facebook like she was here yesterday.
I hear a lot today about, all lives matter and about how we need to focus on everyone. And really, I kind of want to deconstruct that. We're here specifically for the women. Men have their platform, they have male privilege, they have, all of these things that they benefit from. There's a system of patriarchy that guarantees that men will make more money than us, that they will be able to be married to their spouse of choice, that they'll be able to be occupied in their industry of choice. And so really I kind of want to deconstruct that and focus on the women, because we don't get lifted up enough. The Black Lives Matter was started by 3 women of color who are queer. We don't lift up our queer sisters enough. Penny Proud was killed by a police officer for being transgendered and for being a sex worker. I noticed that something that was troubling to me was that there were a lot of people of faith on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and everything when RFRA happened. And they were saying, this isn't right, this isn't, something that we should do. But we don't honor sex workers. We don't open up our churches and our doors and our community centers and our lives and our homes and our hearts to sex workers who are in an occupation that we ourselves might not change. So I'm here with the spirit of rejection. I challenge each and every one of you to reject the notion that women have to be honorable in order to be respected. I am challenging you to reject the notion that women have to be lifted up by men in order to be respected. It's great that we have these platforms and that we have allies that are males that will allow us to come and to speak of ourselves, but we also need to claim and reclaim our spaces ourselves.
Come on.
And not allow ourselves to be overshadowed by the tragedy of other people. It's tragic that Tamir died. It's tragic that Mike Brown died. I went to Ferguson. I cried when I saw his mother marching. But in the same time, we also have to honor and uplift her. As much as we talk about Michael Brown dying, we also have to think that there is a mother who does not have her son. What are we doing to honor her grief? What are we doing to make sure that she has what she needs in order to continue on with that community? For the pastors that are here, I challenge you to reject the notion that women have to be pure. That's going to be something that you're going to have to wrap your heads around. I remember growing up in a church, and I won't name it, but the youth program centered around women being pure. And I was taught at the age of 15 that if I had sex before I was married, that it would be smudges on my window that could not be erased. Mind you, that conflicts with the notion that Jesus Christ rose with all power in his hands and that he erased all sin. But that's not power that is given to me. We need to reject the notion that you have to be of a certain background in order to be respected and acclaimed and revered in our communities.
These are all things that need to be rejected and reshaped in our communities, in our lives, and especially in our churches. Our churches are so broken that we don't even realize it because we're so stuck up the pastor's butt.
Come on. Well,
Get out your pastor's butt. Get in your pastor's ear and get out your pastor's butt. Say it to your neighbor. Get out the pastor's ear and get in your pastor's butt. Amen. No, I'm not done. You ain't got to clap. Then they gave me a microphone and a platform. Lord, I hope y'all ain't got no curfew, and I hope you got some money on your meter. So I'm here with the spirit of rejection, and I was born with the spirit of rejection, but in order for me to learn how to claim that, I had to reject the system of patriarchy that I grew up with. I had to reject the notion that a relationship looks like a certain thing. I had to reject the fact that, you know, although marriage is a beautiful thing, that it is not my calling in life to be someone's wife. My parents have been married for over 28 years, and it's a beautiful and wonderful thing. But again, my calling in life is not to be someone's wife. You should not, if you have any sort of power over a young lady, you should not be drilling into her that her calling is to serve and be under a man in any capacity. Because first of all, you don't know if she even likes men. Reject the notion that everybody is heterosexual. And second of all, that might not be her calling on her life. She might be called to ministry. She might be called to administer, you know, health information to people in prisons. She might be called to community building. And so if you're overshadowing all of those gifts that they have, and yet you're teaching the young men that they should be out here and that they should be growing and building and everything, and then when everything is together, then they should be looking for their wives, but you're giving the young ladies a different narrative, you're doing them a disservice and you're doing yourself a disservice. So I would challenge you to reject the idea that women are solely supposed to be mates for men.
The only thing you can do is educate the people who immediately live in your household. Do that, because knowledge is everything. Knowledge is literally everything. Turn off your TVs, read a book. Seriously, because really everything in society is intentional. I believe. I don't believe anything is accidental. I don't believe HIV is accidental. I don't believe Ebola is accidental. I believe it's all intentional. These injustices are intentional. So it's important for us to educate ourselves about it. Real quick, I'm working on a project entitled Liberating Her, the Black Female Body. Basically, it explores that idea of liberating the Black female body. To liberate a Black body would imply that somebody owns it, right? So who owns your body? Do you own your body? Yes. Who makes the decisions with your body? And we're exploring all ideas under that realm. So I've taken 5 to 6 women who are part of my team who I feel like represent Black women well. We're doing great work in the community, and we're going into these different organizations that cater to Black girls ages 12 to 18. We're workshopping with them, we're donating books to them, we're educating them. This turns into a 2-day conference that's happening November 6th and 7th. And on the 6th, we're having an open forum to all girls in the community who want to come up and sign up for these organizations that we're partnering with. There will also be a panel of 5 women discussing the issues in relation to Black women, Black society, the issues, the injustices, all of the above. And then the next day will be a conceptual artistic show. So if you want to partner with that, if you want to sponsor with that, if you feel like there's something that's something you could get involved with, definitely come talk to me. You can talk to Rahima right here, who's a part of it, and or Miss Boogie Brianna back there, who's also a part of the project. Come talk to any of us and figure out how you can become involved. Cool?